All right, let's break down one of the most mind-blowing financial stories happening right now. Elon Musk's incredible sprint toward an $800 billion fortune. The numbers are, well, they're kind of insane, so let's just dive right in. $780 billion. That's the estimated fortune of Elon Musk as of January 2026. Let that sink in for a second. It's a number that doesn't just break records, it basically shatters our whole concept of personal wealth. And just to be super clear here, we're not talking about the value of a big country or some massive global company. Nope. This is the estimated wealth held by one single person. So the big question is, right, how on earth did one person's fortune explode this fast? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle has to do with the revolution that's happening in artificial intelligence. The main driver, the big catalyst for this recent surge, is Musk's AI company, xAI. There was a recent funding round. That's when investors pour a bunch of cash into a company for a piece of it, and it completely changed the game. And the speed of this growth is just staggering. Look at this. Back in March of 2025, xAI was already valued at a massive $113 billion. But this new investment, it rocketed that valuation all the way to $250 billion. It literally more than doubled in less than a year. So how does this actually translate to Musk's wallet? Well, he owns a giant 49% slice of that pie. So when the value of the entire company more than doubles, his personal piece just becomes astronomically more valuable. So the direct hit to his net worth, a cool $62 billion added. Just like that, almost overnight. His stake in xAI alone is now worth an estimated $122 billion. And look, he wasn't the only one cashing it on this. Other big-name investors like Saudi Prince Al Wali, Jack Dorsey, and Larry Ellison also saw their fortunes get a very nice boost from this new valuation. Okay, but here's the thing. To really get the full picture, you have to understand that this AI boom is just the newest layer. It's like a shiny new skyscraper built on top of an empire that was already massive. You can see here, even with that insane growth from xAI, his stake in SpaceX is still the biggest piece of the pie. And of course, you've still got Tesla, the company that really made him a household name in the first place. Let's break down the actual numbers behind those bars. His 42% of SpaceX is valued at a jaw-dropping $336 billion. We just talked about his $122 billion in xAI, and then his Tesla stock plus his options to buy more adds another $37 billion to the pile. But the speed at which this is all happening is maybe the craziest part. Just look at the snapshot from the end of last year. He hits $500 billion in October. 2 months later, boom, $600 billion. And then just 4 days later, he blows past $700 billion. We have never, ever seen wealth created at that kind of pace before. All right, so we've thrown a lot of huge numbers at you, but what does a number that big even mean? It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, so let's try to put it into perspective. Let's start here. You've got Musk at $780 billion, and then you have the second richest person, Google's Larry Page, way down at $270 billion. The gap between number one and number two is $510 billion. He's richer than the next guy by almost 2 whole Larry Pages. That's just wild. Okay, but that's his total fortune. For a comparison that's even more stunning, let's just zoom in on one single piece of his empire, that brand new supercharged stake in xAI. Remember this number? $122 billion. That's just what his slice of xAI is worth. Now hold that figure in your head. Because that single asset, just that one part of his portfolio, is worth more than the entire fortune of Michael Bloomberg, who happens to be the 16th richest person on the entire planet. I mean, really think about that. Michael Bloomberg built an incredible fortune over a whole lifetime, $109 billion. And yet, Musk's stake in his AI company, which has been around for just a fraction of that time, is already worth more. It's just a powerful signal of the explosive wealth-creating power of this AI revolution. And all of this really leaves us with one massive question, right? If artificial intelligence can generate wealth at this kind of unbelievable speed, completely reshaping fortunes in just a few months, are we on the verge of seeing the world's very first trillionaire? And, what would that even mean for the rest of us? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.